man up, it's game time, everybody stand up. From my town to yours, we ready for sure. From the field to the court, yeah, we ready for war. This is 845, Varsity man up, it's game time, everybody stand up. From my town to yours, we ready for sure. From the field to the court, yeah, we ready for war. I said it's game time.
Hello again, folks. Kevin Witt here for the Varsity845 Section 9 Boys Basketball Show. I'm going to roll through all 5 classes in the upcoming Section 9 tournaments. Now, bear in mind, we're shooting this before the actual seedings have been released, but this is a kind of year where it's not really going to make that much of a difference. So we're going to run through the 5 classes. We're going to start with AA, where obviously the story here is Newburgh Free Academy. The defending Class AA state champions are the top seed, or they're going to be the top seed, and for a good reason. It is their tournament to lose here. The Goldbacks are looking for their 4th sectional championship in the last 5 years, and this team is loaded. It has not lost to a Section 9 opponent in the last 2 years. Pretty much blew everybody out this year and returns all 5 kids who started on a team that won a state championship last year. They were all juniors. Now, Newburgh also added a kid named Devon McMillan. You've heard about him. He's the transfer who came up from Uniondale. He's made a tremendous difference for this club. McMillan's addition gives Newburgh probably 5, 6, maybe even 7 kids capable of scoring double figures on any night, and that's a tremendous advantage this time of year. If you're looking for the team that it's going to play in the finals, I have to say Middletown. Middletown won 3 games last year. This year the Middies have won 16. Both of those losses have come to Newburgh, but there's no reason to think that this won't still be the matchup. Nick Smith has given Middletown a tremendous boost. He's a kid capable of scoring 25 points a night. He's a 6'5" forward who really plays well on the boards. The Middies have also gotten some pretty good scoring lately out of Rob Houston and a sophomore named Kendrick Ray, who's one of the most improved players in the area in the last month. That's going to be your final. I mean, Devon Dunlop at Kingston is going to be one of the better players in the tournament, but I just don't see enough there. So I think that when you're looking at a final, I like Newburgh to beat Middletown in the championship game. Now let's move to Class A. Now, it looks like defending champion Cornwall is going to be the top seed, even though Red Hook is undefeated. Now, the reason for that is because Cornwall plays in an all-Class A division and went undefeated. Red Hook has 2 Bs in its division, so it becomes a point thing. But hey, listen, whoever's 1, who's ever 2, it's not going to make a difference. These are the 2 teams that are going to play for this championship. As of this taping, Red Hook is ranked 3rd in the state, Cornwall is ranked 6th. These teams are for real, folks. Cornwall has losses to Middletown this year and a very good Burke team. Like I said, Red Hook is undefeated and just won the Mid-Hudson Athletic League Championship for the 7th time in 9 years. What I like about Red Hook is they have a bunch of kids who can score 15 points for you. Spencer Dalzell, Cody Malk, Ryan Dalton, and Dan Totten all can do this on a given night, and that's a big part of this. Cornwall will probably have the best player on the floor in Kyle Bradley, and Tyler Orchowski, a big man who averages around 12 points, is another guy who's going to give Cornwall a scoring boost. I just need to see that 3rd and maybe even 4th scoring option for Cornwall to have a chance to win this game. Now, you have 2 of the best coaches in the area involved in this, and that's a lot of fun. Red Hook's Rod Chanda was the winningest coach in Section 9 history. Tom Howe is 1 win away from 300 wins as a boys basketball coach. So you have, storylines galore. This is going to be the most anticipated matchup of the 5 tournaments because these teams haven't played each other. How do I see it happening? I think it's going to be Red Hook over Cornwall in a very close game in the final. Now let's move to Class B, where Burke Catholic clearly is the team to beat here. Burke is looking to win its 3rd title in the last 4 years. It is the defending champion and returned most of that team this year. It also added Jeff Kochi, a transfer kid from Washingtonville. So now you have literally 7 or 8 kids from Burke who can score in double figures. And like I said earlier with Newburgh, that's enormous at this time of year. I think Marlboro can get to the final here, but it's going to have to beat O'Neill to do so. O'Neill has more depth than Marlboro. 3 or 4, even 5 kids capable of scoring double digits on a given night, but Marlboro will have the best player on the floor in Max Faircloth. Faircloth right now is playing great. He's a kid capable of going 20 points, 20 rebounds every night. That gives the team a big boost. I just want to see somebody else step up. Actually, I'd like to see 2 more kids step up and give Marlboro a little more scoring on a consistent level. I think that if it becomes Marlboro-Burke in the final, that it's a more of an intriguing matchup because Burke has already beaten O'Neill twice this year. In fact, that's how I see it happening. I think that Burke beats Marlboro in the Class B final. Now let's take a look at Class C. SS Seward is the top seed and deservedly so. The Spartans have just 1 loss this year, and that was to Burke Catholic. Not only has Seward won all year, but it's won convincingly, winning most of its games by double figures. It has a real solid trio in David Oliver, Scott Glowacheski, and Taylor Steele. These 3 kids are experienced, they're tough-willed, and Seward has got a real nice thing going here. Seward's won its division, it's also state-ranked. Now, Seward also was a Class D school last year, okay, and played in the last, actually he's played in the last 2 D finals, but pretty much gotten hammered in both of those games to Coleman. I think that that's really going to be an impetus this year for Seward to get off to a really good start. I think Seward's going to be really, really focused in this quest to win this championship. Now, Pine Plains played in a tough division and is probably going to be the 2 seed, but you would have to be an idiot to rule out Millbrook in any way in this tournament because Millbrook has won 5 of the last 6 titles. I know the school is quote-unquote down a little bit this year, but I'm not buying it because it seems like every year when you think that happens, they're holding the plaque at center court somewhere. So I do think Seward's going to win this championship, but I think it's going to be Seward over Millbrook in the championship game. We're going to finish up with Class D, where this draw undoubtedly is going to drive the public schools crazy because you're going to have private school Coleman Catholic is going to be the 1 seed, and private school Chapel Field is going to be the 2. Coleman Catholic is the 3-time defending champion, clearly the favorite here. Jake Palmer is a senior guard, one of the best players in the area. This kid is going 25 a night. He can go 30, and this Coleman team has 2 losses this year. Both of those losses were to Red Hook, and one of those losses was last week in the Mid-Hudson Athletic League championship game. So Coleman played a steady diet of larger schools all year and has won those games. Chapel Field's a nice story. I like Joe Canizon, the coach. I think he does a great job with his teams every year. And it's one of those teams that always gets better as the year progresses. He has a scorer in Danny Menendez. He's a senior guard who's come back from knee surgery and has really done a nice job leading this team. I just think that Coleman is a little deeper here, and that's going to be the difference. So I like Coleman over Chapel Field in the championship game. Now, that wraps it up. I realize that we probably have 4 top seeds winning, and that's not really going out on a limb. I understand that. But this is not the kind of year where we are going to have upsets. I just don't see it happening. There's been clearly teams that have risen to the top of this area in the beginning of the year, and those schools stayed there. And there really hasn't been a whole lot of competition locally within the classes. Like I said, we have a couple good matches. Your best matchups are probably going to be in the earlier rounds. Now, if you want to find out and follow this tournament all along, please check the Varsity845.com website. We are going to have updated scores as we get them. Are going to go on our website. We're going to be out, both in the boys and the girls this week. We're going to be out there covering games and trying to get information to you the best way we can do it. That's what we have for you here this week. My name is Kevin Witt. Enjoy the tournament, enjoy the games, and have fun.